Hello, welcome back to my garden. Today I am ripping out a bunch of plants. So far behind me, I've ripped out all my peppers that were on the outside perimeter of my garden, and I'm starting to do the inside, which is my favorite garden bed, and I think the garlic's gonna do extremely well. So I'm planting 5 different types of garlic, replacing the spaces where my pepper plants really aren't producing and won't have enough time before our first frost to give me another round of harvest. So that's what we're doing today. I haven't even gotten started and I've already changed my game plan. That's what happens. I'm gonna start with the early Italian. I wanna work my way from one row down. These ones are gonna probably, I assume, is gonna come out first because they're the early type. So they might come out a week or two before the other ones. We'll see how that goes this year. I am going to take this one type, and when you buy garlic, maybe it's surprising to some people, you get shipped a garlic. So sometimes they come out in little cloves. This is exactly what you would eat, you know. The difference between grocery store and taking like one of these from the grocery store and from a seed shop is, one, you're probably supporting a small seed shop, which you should be doing. Two, you know exactly what type this is and how big these will get on average, and generally they sell you really large types and large bulbs, so you just kind of know what you're getting. So what you want to do is take the big bulbs. You still hosing? Yeah. Okay, good job, you're doing awesome. What you want to do is take the big bulbs and break them apart, again, just like how you cook, so that there are individual, I gotta do the beauty community thing, so they are individual little cloves. And when you plant it in the ground, you want the little skin side, the little tip up, and the rough side, YouTuber, do it, rough side down, pointed skin side up. This rough side is going to shoot off roots, and the green stalk will shoot up out of this top portion. So every garlic bulb that you buy should net you a good amount of garlic, and each bulb that you plant will create one whole garlic. So keep that in mind when you are buying. For a lot of regions, fall, meaning mid-October, is about the right time to plant garlic. You want to do it when it's starting to get cold during the day, but not freezing. It's good to get them in before your first frost if you can, so they can get a little bit established before the ground completely hardens. But in my region, people will do anywhere from mid-October to early November. Some people like to use holidays as their dates, so a lot of people wait till Mother's Day to plant in the spring, and Halloween to plant garlic, you know. So some people like those milestones. For me, that's what a lot of people use. I tend to do when I have a free moment and I'm in the mood. Hi! You're a gardener? I knew that. You're doing awesome. Oh, my dogs. Garlic season. Golly, look how pretty the fall colors are this year. Amazing. Okay, so I've got a couple different types of garlic that I'm doing this year. I've got chestnut red. I have early Italian. I have elephant garlic, music, which is supposed to do really well in my region, and Inchulum red soft neck. So I'm gonna get a couple of these in. I think what I want to start with is probably early Italian, and I think the chestnut red is what I want to start with. These two. Find enough space because I know I'm gonna want both of these for sure, all of them planted. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room for all of these. We're honestly just gonna have to get started and see. Okay, all I'm doing is trying not to break a nail and trying not to pierce the garlic too much, but taking the garlic apart, putting them in a bowl. You can take off a little bit of the extra paper, but keeping some of it on is completely fine. It will pretty much just disintegrate in the ground anyways. And I plant all of it. So even the middle nub, all of it, whatever. I just stick it in the ground because I'm pretty sure last year, all of them garlic. And I suppose I'm not the most expert person because I just said probably instead of, you know, Googling it, but I'm here to tell you what I'm doing, not to be a professional tutorial. My baby's out there just watering every garden bed right now on his own. What a stellar little dude. You spraying your strawberries? Nicely done. Typically, you can see a size difference between these two. This will produce a bigger bulb in the end. I still think it's worth planting tiny ones, but in my opinion, especially if you have limited space, plant your biggest tiny nubs first. Big nubs go in the ground first. If you have extra space or a corner, or even just planting in between other things or other spaces, like if you always plant your peppers somewhere and you know you always plant them at the same place every year, plant a couple garlics, like the tiny ones, right around there where you can squeeze around other plants. They don't like a whole lot of competition, but you're better off planting the tiny nubs, even if it's in a place that's not necessarily with, you know, the same dedicated space as your real big nubs. All right, here's the game plan. This is all where my peppers were. I am going to even out, spider, even out the ground here a little bit. Whoops, sorry camera. There's some sticks, old root systems, whatever's out here. Spread it all out so it's even. There are for sure more accurate tools to use. I'm using my kids' gardening tools, the handle side, to make little divots. What I'm gonna do is just dip this down and make holes about every 6-7 inches. You do want to give them some good space, but you also don't need to be too picky. The more space you give them, the bigger the heads will typically be, but again, I wouldn't be too picky about it. All right, start putting the giant nubbies in. This one produced a lot of smaller ones and just a couple real big ones. It's kind of interesting. Pretty inconsistent in terms of size, that's all. I'm actually gonna rip this plant out while I'm here because I don't want to disturb the garlic later. I pull this out. Then, sorry plant. Yeah. Hot. Ugh. Beaver. Hey, Beaver. 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 All right. That's 1, 2, 3.5 rows of early Italian garlic. Okay, I'm back. My kiddo did the thing where there's a kink in the hose and he's spraying something, gets mad that it's kinked, and I go, okay, you ready? I'm gonna undo it. He goes, okay. I undo the kink and he looks right into the hose. Oops. We're back. Okay, 1, 2, 3.5 rows early Italian garlic. I put the tag, this is kind of a note for myself for later, I put the tag on the third one so I know about how far it went out, so I can start a new row here of a new type. I put it so it's about 2 inches down, so there's a full layer of soil right on top of it. And then what I'm going to do is fertilize this pretty heavy in the next couple weeks before it freezes, with spray fertilizer for the soil, feed the soil because they are heavy feeders. And then in the spring, early spring, when there's more greens coming out and they really take off once it starts getting warmer, early spring, I'm going to be doing heavy feeds on these pretty much all spring because garlic definitely benefits from a lot of feeding and a lot of care. It's not in terms of pruning, like tomatoes are really heavy maintenance in terms of pruning and making sure there's not bugs on it. Garlic you can mostly leave alone except for feeding with water, fertilized water. Okay, I am losing daylight, so I only got one type done. If I don't sign this video off, and I might need to make a part 2 depending on how the rest of this week goes. Thank you for joining me today in my garden, and I will see you in the next one, which will also be garlic, because I'll need to make a part 2. I have so much more to plant, so I'm very excited about it. Thank you for joining me today.